Oh, hello, it's me, Brian. You're in the call room. You just heard me complain for a solid 13 minutes. It was 13 minutes of me complaining about stuff that I did to myself. I am that kind of fucking guy. Like, I do things that are stupid, and then I get mad at myself for it, and then I complain about it. So I have been complaining, and I feel bad. The people in the call room had to hear it, but So, how's it going, everybody? It's Sunday. I think we're gonna have a street fight here. It's gonna be a good time. We've got some room in the call queue. You can give us a call at 614-655-3887. I'll sit and talk to you. I'll sit and talk to you till 10. I ain't got no problem doing that. Having a good time. We'll sit here and have fun. And thank you for the murder Durst. Everybody, please compliment me on my new glasses, because I'm wearing glass. I got new glasses too. So I got the Fred Durst look with the new glasses. I'm getting hot. I'm not hearing that from people. I'm getting hot, like good looking, not hot, like warm. I'm wearing a very thin hoodie and a sleeveless shirt. I put off a lot of work and complained about it. So I get up today, and hey, Jake Chinatown says you look hot like Fred Durst. Let me tell you something. Anybody that's listened to the old POD cast knows that my wife's hall pass was Fred Durst. So he's got such a regular dick, but like, so do I think. I don't know for sure. I've seen very few dicks. Well, that's a lie. I've seen a ton of dick constantly, but on TV and things that I share, stuff like that, So yeah, my wife was really into Fred Durst, Johnny Depp, Sugar Ray guy, which almost doesn't even make sense that she ended up with me, Like, but yeah, that's right, Jake. Thank you. He said, she doesn't need the pass anymore. No, I'll put my hat on and make love to my wife. Unfortunately, I always turn the lights off. So that's an issue. You turn the lights out and nobody sees your red hat. So that is a problem. But I had been thinking about buying this hat for 2 years, 3 years, maybe, when we were touring. Listen, I don't even do hall passes anymore. So the fact that my wife's hall pass is from 1999 is just out of a function of that's lame to do. It's not like cool. But and if I said mine, which I have said in the past, and we had these pictures hanging on the wall, right? So like in the bedroom where we lived, it was really mostly a Brian bedroom. It was not really a Katie bedroom, and a lot of Mountain Dew bottles, a lot of cigarette butts, that kind of stuff. Whatever mess that I made, whatever fucking, I wasn't even putting sheets on the bed when we started dating. Like, that's something she made me start doing, because I always felt like, what's the point in sheets? You got the whole bed here. That's really what we need. I don't know about the sheet underneath. Now I can't even picture a life without sheets, ever. I will never sleep on a bed. When I lay down on a fucking bed and the sheets move a little bit, it fucking makes me so uncomfortable, and I hate it. It happens a lot at hotels because I'm always thrashing around, and you don't want your body to touch the mattress at a hotel bed. That's, those sheets are a protective layer between you and whatever's going on with that fucking mattress. But yeah, so we would hang these pictures on the wall of people that I guess, we were both sort of attracted to. And we had Mark McGrath up there. We had Fred Durst. from Limp Bizkit, and we had Fred Durst from Limp Bizkit, and we had Christina Ricci. It was a cover from Spin, a Pink cover where she, I think, had a chainsaw in one of the things, but it was just really me being like, oh man, I'm different. I like goth girls, sort of thing. My wife couldn't be further from a goth girl, but I think that's what I think, I think that, like, the thing about it is like my wife, I'm nothing like, Fred Durst or that other guy, Mark McGrath. I'm nothing like those guys, or Johnny Depp. Like there's no similarities between me and those guys. I always thought it was kind of like what I always think it was kind of like she was into rocker dudes, but I'm not a rocker dude. So I don't know exactly why I thought she was into rocker dudes. It's a Spin cover. I believe it is a Pink. She has a chainsaw, but yeah, I always thought, she was sort of like I'm into rocker dudes and that's why I'm into you, but I don't think I ever carried the gravitas. I never carried the gravitas of a rock and roll guy. Like when I walk into a room, nobody is like, look at him. Oh, he's doing it, man. This guy fucking probably isn't a rock and roll band. Nobody has ever asked me if I'm in a band, ever. Ever. Not a single fucking time. So, yeah. So, yeah, I got this week going. I got that happening. And then I got the daughter's going to school. She's signing up for college, and they're just like rocker dude. Thank you, Jake Chinatown. Jake Chinatown says most people don't have a type. Depending on style, they just like certain personalities. And I think maybe I have the personality of a rocker dude. I think that was. Maybe I have that fucking personality. It's like, this guy isn't putting up with any shit from society, and it was exciting because it was really fucking funny. I remember when we started dating, and she was like, her friends were like getting strippers all the time for shit. When they were like 18, they would just be like, let's get a fucking male stripper to come. And it was always like a cowboy or like a hunky police officer. You know what I'm saying? Like how male strippers are all like this weird archetype that's not even really like sexy. Like I know women are into sexy cowboys or whatever, or sexy firemen or sexy workers, but my wife was always like, I ain't into that shit. Really, like cowboy guy, just tight jeans. He comes in there, he's swinging his dick around in a little gimmick, and as CN Monoxide in the chat says, yeah, there's never been a sexy skinny goth boy stripper. There's never been that. You never got a emo guy coming in there and just being like, I'm gonna fucking swing my huge hog around, because emo guys don't think they have big enough hogs to be a stripper, but they do. Trust me, I've been watching this Chippendales TV show, and you can stuff your hog in there as much as you want, like with different socks and cod pieces and stuff like that. But you would think that like somebody there. I'm surprised. Here's what I'm surprised about, right? Like there's not an app, and there probably is, but I'm the most married guy in the world. Okay. I'm an incredibly married guy, but I think an app where it's like strippers, like Hotels Tonight, right? There's that app, Hotels Tonight. And if you need a male stripper, or you could any kind of sex worker, and it's like an app. I'm sure that they somebody has tried to come up with an app where you can just dial somebody up and be like, come on in. And then I think you would get several different kinds of men. And I'm not women. There's a million different kinds of women. I just don't think there's any dudes. Like there's only like two kinds of dudes, and there's like a million zillion kinds of women strippers from what I've seen. I haven't looked, but from what I've seen, there's only the cowboy, the cop, the firefighter, the doctor. Sometimes Dr. Hunk, like on Chippendale, that show, it's like Dr. Hunkenstein, where he's like a hunk, and it's like they're doing Dr. Frankenstein. That was a little novel to me, but I just am like, I don't know. I've never seen it. I'll take your trash. Take out your trash kind of stripper. Yeah, some guy that maybe come or they have a tool belt. Like, it's never like a layabout like me. Like, you never have a guy come in there with his headphones in, looking at his phone, and then like he's looking at his phone and his Fred Durst New York Yankees hat. You know what I mean? And it's like he walks in, like, right, I walk in, and kind of maybe we're playing like one of the real sexy Deftones songs. You know what I mean? And I walk in, I'm looking at my phone, and then all of a sudden, right when the music kicks in, when everybody's fucking going crazy, I put my phone down, and that's when the dancing happens, right? You put your phone down, now we're dancing. And now it's like, this guy put his fucking phone down for me. And then boom, we got ourselves, we're off to the fucking races. Everybody's getting horny at that point. So that's just something that I was thinking about. And yes, it's just you that froze. So Crust Monk, I'm sorry, you froze, not me. Yeah, Bluetooth earbuds go far. I think this is a fucking business. I don't know how many fucking businesses I got to give away on this show. And then when I fucking do it, nobody does it. And then boom, we don't have the goddamn business. We'd be rich. Everybody in this fucking room would be the richest people in the world if we just took my 3 ideas. And I think one of my ideas, this new stripper idea is genius. I might do this one. I'm thinking about it. I mean, I'm really high on this idea. Like, just different varied dudes, suicide dudes. What about like the suicide girls? Like, what about the suicide dudes? Where it's like, hey man, we got a guy that looks like Jonathan Davis in here. If you want that, white guy with dreads. We got a guy that look like Trent Reznor. We got a guy that look like Pantera. We got a guy that look like Pantera. Phil Anselmo, Hey, we got a fucking guy that looks like Lil Wayne. We got a guy that looks like Lil Wayne, or Gucci Man, or Young Boy Never Broke Again. And that's just the ideas that I could be doing if I wasn't a podcaster and wasn't a strict anti-capitalist. Capitalist. So that's me. I just watched Yell Stop Hiss, the sexy Deftones. Yes, I know. I just watched Yell Stop Hiss, the documentary about the Hellfire tour, where it was street fight, me and Brett, and the Trillbillies and District Sentinel, and we traveled through the South, did a lot of shows. It was a lot of fun, and that's going to be coming out this week on Means TV. Obviously very weird experience for me to be watching it. Wasn't gonna actually watch it because, tough time in my life over the past few months. So I'm still like sort of trying to shake myself out of some of that stuff. And but I think people really like it. It was a lot of fun. It was a picture in time, and that tour to me was the beginning of some of the best times of my life. That tour was one of the best weeks of my entire life, and like, without Brett playing that fucking thing, I mean, literally it was me saying we should do a tour with the Trillbillies and the Sams, and then him sort of putting this whole thing together logistically. Him and my wife kind of worked with the different venues and stuff like that, and got the shows set up. And I cherish that time, and I hope people watch that doc and remember how fucking much fun we had and stuff. And I hope, I don't want people to feel watch it. It's maybe a bittersweet thing to watch now, I guess. But it was a very fun tour, and it's not the that's all I want to say. It's not the end of touring either. Something's gonna happen at some point. So I'm gonna take some fucking phone calls now. We're gonna sit and talk to people. I gotta eat my weed and stuff like that. So it's time to get somebody on the phone, and let's get somebody on the phone. Da 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 da. We got one space left in the queue too. So that's all. Hello. You're talking to Brian. Who am I talking to?
You're talking to Grayson from Orange County, California. Fixer Punk in the chat. Thank you for taking my call.
First caller, Grayson. It's early for you. What is it? 5 o'clock there?
Yeah, it's 5:15 here. What I actually wanted to, first off, I totally relate to all of the ranting that you were doing about just everyday things before the show. I actually did a whole episode on my podcast of like just me ranting about how, even though I said this on a couple episodes ago with you, was that I don't really have much work right now. My work largely concluded. I still obviously have a little bit of work to do since I technically run my own business. There's all that kind of stuff, but like my everyday life, especially with like the holidays and all that, has been feeling like a full-time job. And I've also been going for some treatments to try to help improve my autism symptoms. And I'm like, during the week, it feels like almost like a full-time job, especially that I'm kind of burned out dealing with that autistic burnout. So I can relate a lot.
I have a dry erase board with all the shows I have to finish by Sunday. And I just keep looking at it like, fuck, this is going to be a long week. I got to do 3 podcasts as soon as I get up tomorrow. But you know what? I get a month off. And who in this world gets a month off? Like, there's just no, I figure if this is my job, I should take some time off. But yeah, I've said this for years about the holidays, which I know, I know it's probably like a cliche thing to say, but it's a time of year where like you have to make something out of nothing. Like if I could, buy my kid everything she ever wanted, I would just do that. I wouldn't there wouldn't be stuff that she didn't get, and they're like, oh, my stepmom growing up, there was like this thing at her work where they could put money in a Christmas sort of savings account. It would come right out of the check, and they would give them the money in December, and they could do these like really big Christmases, and it was this really great thing. But like that, I don't even think they do it anymore, because my wife works at the same place that my stepmom worked at, but she doesn't get it. But it is just like it's like, okay, so all the money I don't have, I have to now take that money and buy fucking toys or clothes or something nice for the wife or whatever you're getting people. I have to go buy this stuff that I can't afford any other time of the year. Plus, I got to go shopping. It's not easy it's really tough to order your stuff now and think, because it just feels like everybody gets their stuff late, and it's just so much. So I get it. I'm burning out too right now. I am burning the candle at both ends.
Yep. And yeah, I have a whiteboard in front of me. Thankfully, I don't have as much as you have on there. But one thing that I have recently added, or that I'm going to add, is talking about the whole situation with Liver King and the right-wing fitness influencer kind of pipeline. And I've been thinking about this from like a leftist perspective, and knowing if there's a way to sort of intervene in this self-help pipeline. This is one of like my biggest interests in the areas of political communication is this cultural advocacy to young men, because he's even going on, Liver King went on TMZ Live recently, and he was saying how his whole intention in all of this was to bring awareness to issues around men losing their masculinity, and that's why he went on steroids, is to bring attention to these issues. He started bringing up statistics that pointed to the social determinants of health while supporting the ideology and the party that will do nothing about those problems, obviously. And there have been like different leanings among leftists about fitness. I know you've spoken a little bit about your journey and your situation. There have also been tendencies of like sort of avoiding the issue or running and opposing directly the idea of like aesthetics, physique development, and masculinity itself, and talking about things like fat phobia and saying that you need to avoid that, and if you're trying to like get shredded, that's an eating disorder. And there really hasn't been that much, but there is a little bit of people trying to bring a leftist narrative into those areas. And I was thinking, part of my motivation in my own mind, because I actually got recently questioned by a family member, like, why are you working out so hard? You're rarely around everybody. We're rarely around anybody. And I'm like, okay, it's because I want to at some point be able to be 0.5% of like a reverse of Liver King, being able to like reverse it and say, well, look, I actually understand the underlying causes of the problems that make you feel weak in society, and the systemic problems that you're facing as a young man that are detrimenting your mental and physical health. And this is the solution, not what all the right-wing people are. And it seems like the fitness community has just gone so overwhelmingly right-wing. And I'm not sure if there's anybody that's gone along the same lines.
Well, I'll say this. I follow, everybody knows I follow like a lot of right-wing shit, you know, I just bringing it up to the, just even talking about like something like Anthony Cumia or something like that, and Joe Rogan and that crew are all on fucking steroids. They have those anti-aging doctors. They're 65-year-old men, and they are just they want to be teenagers, and you know, they have this idea of low T, as though like your life, you just like change throughout your life, you know, like your sex drive is going to go up and down and stuff like that. And it's like a lot of those people are just on fucking steroids. I have no idea like when it started. I know Anthony, because I was doing Shocktober last year when he announced that he had last year when he announced he had low T and he was getting on steroids. And a lot of fucking people are saying, like, a lot of those people are on it.
Although
Steven Crowder, I believe.
Steroids, I believe, will bring it down. Yeah, I believe
steroids
bring
sick,
it down.
though.
You're probably talking about testosterone replacement therapy.
Yeah, I'm a steroids testo. I would do it. I would do steroids if I could afford, or whatever it is that people are doing. Yeah. I think steroids are fucking cool, but that's because I'm a wrestling guy, and I look at those guys all the time, and I'm like, damn, I wouldn't mind looking like fucking Brian Cage, which look him up. I don't even think I have that body type.
Yeah.
I just like big ripped dudes. But yeah, I
mean,
the TRT, the TRT though is kind of what I don't like. Here's the thing: I don't think you can do TRT in MMA. That might might be wrong. You know what I mean? And somebody in the chat could tell me, but I don't think you can do TRT. Like, it's a banned substance in sports and stuff like that. And I would say that
UFC is subject to USADA, the U.S. anti-doping agency, so it would be a banned substance. It's pretty much, if it's banned in the Olympics, then it's banned in UFC.
And I would say that like the reason I called it steroids and stuff is like, because TRT is basically doing what we think steroids do, I guess, in a way. does that make sense? Like what we think steroids do is
A little, yeah.
is make you more macho. Basically, is the way that people think of it. And yeah, you know, I don't know. I see there's a lot of fitness people on the left. I do know that. There's people like Pretty Bad Lefty on Twitter, what the fuck, Mark Bar America on Twitter. There's a few people that are kind of that are leftists that what's his name? He always raids the Twitch room. Hassan, he's a fitness guy. There's a lot of fitness people, but I do think there is like a hesitation, I guess, for Hassan Piker is the name. Yeah, I think there is like a hesitation to bring it up because I mean, hey, you know what? If I haven't, I get it. Like, I understand both sides of the deal. I mean, there is no sort of ideal body. You know, there's different body types and people look different. And like, you know, but I do think also like people need to be fully realized. And yeah, Young Chomsky is also one, the TrueAnon producer. I think people need to be, I think, you know, obviously what you want to be is what I want you to be. And that's kind of that's kind of how I feel, right? Is like I am my perfect world, my utopia is not something where I can give you the rules and tell you what I would want the world to be. My utopia is that every single person gets to be the maximum version of themselves. You know what I mean? Like gets to be a fully realized version of themselves. And so that's why I think sometimes I'm cautious about the fitness stuff because that's not something that's important to some people, you know?
Yeah. But yeah, at that point you said that you want that your ideal world is where people can become a fully realized version of themselves. I think that's the part of leftism that a lot of especially young men are not getting because they feel like, okay, if I go into leftism, then I have to become effeminate, emasculated, or all of those things. I cannot truly be myself or who I want to be. And that's
Grayson,
that's
a guy called me feminine.
Going...
A guy on Twitter called me feminine today because he said he followed me for wrestling tweets and he gets mad that I make fun of chuds. And I'm like, bro, you shouldn't have followed me then. Because like I'm like 20% wrestling tweets. And I was just like, you gotta, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. If you like my wrestling opinions, then I'm trying to monetize the goddamn thing. You know what I mean? Like I'm trying to switch the wrestling tweets and stuff to the monetize thing for Twitter, but they won't approve my application or whatever. So I told him I was going to do it for nudes. Wrestler nudes was one of the reasons I wanted to do it, and I think they might be like, "Oh, I don't know if we want you to you know, I don't think we want you to do that." My phone just fucking died. Piece of shit. Sorry.
Yeah, and I don't know if Elon Musk wants to help you create a leftist narrative in the wrestling space, which I do see as rather opportunistic here, because pro wrestling has gotten very progressive recently, or a lot of the wrestlers are more progressive, and there is definitely a feedback loop between that and bodybuilding. Steve Austin talked about that on a podcast a long time ago. And we could see that sort of filtering in. And I think there's a little bit of hope there for models. I've spoken about how I'm not on gear. I'm on the Full Gear Challenge from Adam Page, which decidedly is against doing such drugs. But what I have been thinking quite a bit about is this whole idea that we could get to a point where you have enough, because it seems like there's definitely an overrepresentation of right-wing ideology in this sort of masculinity space. get to a point where we could have more leftist exemplars as such, and basically help people out of this pipeline, because the more and more of the reactionary type content and that the right obviously uplifts, in terms of saying, well, leftists are against you wanting to get in the best shape possible, leftists are against that. That is certainly not helping our cause with young men. It's just driving them over to the right. And that's kind of a big objective in my work. And I'm going to take a deeper dive into some of these issues on an episode probably going to be released this week of the Fixer Punk podcast. And there's a few good articles about the Liver King situation that I'll break down a little bit more and get into some ideas I have in that space. So
tell people where to find it, Grayson.
Yep. Yeah, so easiest way is the website fixerpunk, FIXERPUNK.com. And then I'm on all major platforms as the Fixer Punk podcast, also Fixer Punk on TikTok and Instagram. And for my wrestling posts, you can find them on my Twitter at Grayson Nation, GREYSONNATION.
Nice. All right. Well, it's good to hear from you, Grayson. Have a good night.
Well, you too. Thank you so much.
Sleeve a shirt. The sleeves are off, baby. And look, Limp Bizkit on the shirt too. This is one of my favorite shirts. It's the Inmates. I think I bought that for like $60. A pretty good deal for a shirt like this. Then I cut the sleeves off. So, because it's like a Tultex or whatever the crummy shirts are. You know what it is. But yeah, I think the left fitness thing is that, like, I don't know, like you said about Hassan, right? Like, he's a big dude. I don't think he's telling anybody you have to look like that. And that's the way I think of it, is like, it's the people that say you have to do this. Now, the Liver King is hilarious. That is a very funny thing that happened and will continue to happen, because as I said, the right is basically doing TRT and stuff like that because they can't get their dick up or something. I don't know. That's just what I'm thinking. So I'll go ahead and answer the call of this person, see what they got to say. Hey, hello, thanks for calling Street Fight. How you doing? Wait a minute before you say something. Kami Mommy said you look like how a criminal would dress on Frasier. Okay. Thanks a lot. That is very funny. Who am I talking to tonight?
Hey, it's Hank in Los Angeles. That's a
What's up,
very
Hank?
funny and well-written line. Shout out to Kami Mommy for the quality contribution.
It's silly. I do, though. I do. If I didn't have the glasses, if I didn't have the Burberry glasses on, like if I take these goddamn things off, all right, now there's a criminal coming in. You know, watch out, Niles. You know, I ain't put the glasses back on because I can't fucking see anything without them. All right, now we're back.
You'd like
yep.
It's a Range Rover or something, yeah.
If you guys,
someday
I think somebody is going to go through the Street Fight YouTube page and notice that I haven't worn sleeves since it's just been me. So there's that. I have not worn sleeves. I have been just Mr. No Sleeves, which is fine with me. I think I'm done with sleeves. When it's warm, no sleeves, you know. So that's me. So what's up? What's up, Hank? How's it going? Yeah. Fuck sleeves.
Yeah.
It's so comfortable. You fucking, yeah. It's like wearing a towel in a way or something. I don't know.
But you're not a vest guy, correct?
I am not I would never wear a vest. Well, you know, maybe I'm opening up to a vest. I looked at a tech vest one year. I was kind of, when I was really going through the hype beast stuff. I was looking at this like Supreme tech vest. I think it was like $400. That's what stopped me from getting it. But I what I'm saying is I looked at it. and it's pretty nice. It I don't know. I haven't done it yet. I don't know what I would do with a vest. I did also look at like a puffy vest, like a Patagonia situation of some sort. And I'm sort of, I just feel like I don't know, you know. Um I don't think I'm a vest
All
guy.
right,
I
listen.
don't think I am. I've
You're-
said this a few times recently. I want as many I want more accessories. I've said I'm going to start wearing a necklace and maybe some rings, and I wouldn't even mind a bracelet. I just want to start adding stuff.
I understand the impulse. You get boring looking at just that regular ass wrist with no shiny metal wrapped around it, right? What kind of life
Well,
is that?
yeah,
Let me just say this about the
yeah.
vest. A vest is actually can be nice if you think of it as a tool, as a something you need to like add warmth to a outfit for like being outdoors in the cold for a long time. And if you need to use your arms, like chopping wood in a vest feels pretty damn good. Also great for a calendar photo shoot. But a vest for style is kind of like the realm I think that most of us would rather avoid. I wouldn't really be a vest guy to be doing it for looks, but sometimes you need your arms
Oh,
free and you need some extra warmth without or maybe your jacket doesn't fit your arms quite well, but you do just need a little bit extra warmth. There's vests have their place. I am team vest from a functioning
yeah.
standpoint.
Oh, Mochi in chat said, "Have a great vacation, B Dog." And I had been saying over and over again, this is my last week. I'm gonna be here Sunday, the 18th. 18th my last day, and then I'm done. No
Oh
more
man,
call-in shows until January
I was
22nd.
all
I will be
emotionally
here
ready
next
to say
week.
goodbye.
Huh?
I said I was emotionally ready to say Merry Christmas to you this week, but I guess we got to put it off till next week.
I'll be here. I'll fucking be here next week. I'll be
Okay.
here chatting it up. I mean, I'm working all this week except for Tuesday. The wife has a birthday Tuesday. So I have to do wife birthday stuff, but then Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, I have a lot of stuff to do, and then I'm off for a couple days, and then I can do the last call-in show. I believe I think I scheduled myself to be out, but I just figured the 18th seems like the time to do it. But so people in the chat, I gotta tell you, JJ Sanders asked necklace, shark tooth, or puka shell, gold, but not even gold, probably silver or I just always wanted a necklace. I think I talk about
Amulet.
it on yeah. Well, I always wanted a Figaro necklace when I was in school. And now that I'm like not doing sleeves and I have the hat, the the red hat and stuff, I think a necklace or a Figaro necklace, and then I don't know what the I don't know what the wrist thing would be. I don't mind my watch, but I wanted to buy my wife a ring, like a wedding ring of some sort of thing. No, Figaro, not Cuban links, Figaro. But I would wear Cuban links too. I wanted to get my wife like a wedding ring because we didn't have a wedding really. We didn't trade rings or anything like that. One of the things she used to say when we were very young was, "I'm not gonna marry you unless I have a ring." And then, obviously that didn't happen. We didn't have any fucking money. We were together for I think 10 years. And it ended up that we just ended up getting married for insurance reasons for me because I'm a loser and I lost my job. And or I didn't lose my job. I was
I do that all
quitting
the
my
time.
job. Huh?
I said I do that all the time. Me and employment do not play well together. Go ahead.
I was quitting the cable company at the time, and we were like, what if he what if he doesn't have insurance once it switches over to the Bureau of Workman's Comp, because I didn't understand how any of that works. Nobody ever fucking talked about it when they sent me home. They just said fucking go home. and come back when you're healed. When the doctor says you can come back, you can come back. And then they just paid me. So I didn't really know exactly how that whole thing worked. I think anybody who's ever been injured at work and had to be out for a long term would tell you, like, it is just, they don't, the job doesn't tell you anything. I think part of that is to be like, we might not even bring you back, but they don't want to talk about that. Like, we'll make that decision, when it's time to come back, but they have to bring you back, So
I just went through workers' comp. Yeah, I'm totally with you there. I went through the whole process this year with my arms. Yeah, I get it.
They don't fucking tell you anything.
No, it's Byzantine. The best thing I did was hire a lawyer. California restricts the lawyer payout to 15%, which is what so that's what it's going to cost you of the total, and that's reasonable. But having a lawyer do all the stuff just to have the confidence to navigate the Byzantine process, that was easily the best decision I made.
I should have. I even had a few get a hold of me, and I would have had somebody. I think somebody was going to get a hold of me, and I was like, maybe I'll do this because they said I could get paid out for the rest of my life, like a sort of disability payment for the rest of my life. So I started talking to some guys from work that had been through kind of some of the injury stuff at the cable company, and a few other people I know that are like a few other people I know that have worked like blue collar jobs and had situations like that. And they said that the lawyer just takes, I mean, at least that's how it is in Ohio. They were like, yeah, if you get paid out, they were like, yeah, you could probably get a check for $500 a month, but the lawyer would take like $350 of it. And it's like, well, I ain't fucking doing all this for $150 a month. Like, I would love to have $150 a month, but I'm not putting myself through like whatever the court system to be, looked at, like going to different, doctors and shit like that. I could not figure out how it worked. All I knew was that when I got injured, they said, we will pay you for 6 months was what they told me. And then they were like, and then in 6 months, if you're not healed, you'll be getting paid by the Bureau of Workmen's Comp, and they will pay you 60% of your salary, but with no taxes. So it kind of works out to be your salary. And it was basically my salary. It was pretty much 100% of my salary. It was just, supposed to be 65% or something. And I got paid that out, and I was on that for like a year. And, my wrist was finally to a point where the doctor was like, I mean, it ain't going to get better than it is. So they sent me back to work, and I started getting messages from lawyers and shit like that. But again, it was like people sending me stuff in the mail and saying, you could have this much. And it might have even been like $180 a month. And they were like, you won't get a penny of that. And I'm like, well, then what's the fucking point? And even if I'm not going to get any of the money, I'm not going to fucking sue them. That seems dumb. But I just think as somebody in the chat, it's Byzantine. It's not, it's made so you don't get that stuff. You know what I mean? It's made in such a way so that getting those benefits is impossible.
Dude, that's precisely it. I mean, the every stage of the process is you don't feel like you're engaging your society in order to make you whole while you're recovering from an injury or while you're adapting to disability, because sometimes injuries are permanent. It's just another opportunity for the lawyers to feed on you. It's just another opportunity and I recommended still getting a lawyer here in California. I was glad I did, because it was so hard. I just that they made that expense necessary. But the doctors that I had to go through this whole doctor network that the workman's comp process allows you to use, and they weren't doing shit. They showed me like a 2 minutes of stretches, and then they just made me go do them by myself, and they didn't care if I finished anything. And it was just them like checking off boxes and probably charging a shit ton of money for a whole like a 20-second consultation and stuff like that. But you needed the doctor's approval. You needed the doctors to have and the doctors have relationships with the attorneys, And the whole thing is sort of just like, well, I'm just like kind of in a side exhibit of capitalism, of this zoo planet that we're stuck in. Just another way for my needs to be set as the secondary priority to all of this behavior. Because there are ways we could take care of our bodies and use the technology and the human ingenuity and the human like the love, the way we like to help people, our altruism, to help our to heal from injury. But we would rather have rich people make more money off of injured people. And that's been my experience. But I've still been grateful for it, because I'd be fucked if I didn't have the payout that I got, even though it's dwindling quickly, and I desperately need to make shit work in the next year. I'm fucked.
Yeah.
I can barely.
I mean,
yeah.
For me, it was like I knew in the end, like what I knew, what the plan was the entire time was, okay, so here's what's going to happen. I'm going to fucking use this money, use as long as I can. They sent me to one of the most fucking evil doctors I've ever been to the point he wasn't like trying to do anything like he wasn't trying to like I don't know. I got the vibe that he just brings you in, looks at like he spends 2 minutes with you and then kicks you out and then decides if they'll continue your benefits. And that was like one of the scariest days, because it was like, I've been out of work for a year. I don't almost a year. I think I was out for a total of like 18 months. And the fucking guy is like, come in, talks to me for 2 minutes and sends me out. So I fucking melted down. They didn't give me any answers, right? He looked at me, looked at my wrist, said, "How's it feel?" I said, "It fucking hurts." And then he said, "All right, see ya." And I truly had no idea what the guy was gonna what the doctor was gonna say. He didn't say like if I was going to get to keep my benefits. He didn't say if I wasn't going to be able to get, like, none of that, no information. He just left me and said, "You'll get a letter in 6 weeks." So I fucking panicked, and I'm spending all fucking day like just fucking like, what if they take it away? What am I going to do? Oh my God, what if they take the money away and I don't have any money anymore? And so what happened was I sent a letter to my representative in the House of Representatives, I believe, in Columbus, and told them my experience. And then like 5 days, I think maybe after I sent that email, I got a letter. It was the same fucking day. I got a letter from my representative, my state representative, or whatever it was, whoever I said, I cannot fucking remember who it was. I got a letter from them, and then I got the same day, the letter in the mail saying I was approved to keep getting my benefits. So I think it was just literally like, they were like, you got to let this guy through. He's a huge pain in the ass. And that actually worked for me. But I just felt like, not everybody's going to like write a letter to a congressman in order to get what they want. And honestly, now I know that they probably do read pretty much all the emails, but they probably pretty much call everybody a crank, or they know when there's a letter writing campaign. But I knew somebody read that letter, and somebody contacted the Bureau of Workers' Comp and got me to keep my stuff for another 6 months. And then I was sort of I was sort of healed by the time that was over. I went back to work. But the plan for me when I went back to work was, I'm going to get fired and then collect unemployment for however long you collect unemployment, and then we'll reassess and figure out what the thing's going to be. The fucking bummer was I couldn't get fired. Like, they just wouldn't fucking fire me. I tried everything, because it's this like stupid, like delicate tightrope of, you can't get fired for some reasons. You can only get fired, you know what I mean, to keep your thing, and you can't quit. They won't give you unemployment. So I was just having all these meltdowns in December of that year, like real bad ones. Like I was basically at that time where I was before the ketamine treatments. this year, and you know, this has been one of the toughest years of my life. And so I was like, I gotta quit. And then my wife was like, I'll tell you what, just take all your vacation days and then fucking go back and quit. So I took 18 vacation days that I had. I came in the day I was supposed to be back in my regular clothes with all my equipment and said, I'm fucking out of here. And they were like, you want to do an exit interview? And I was like, I don't care. And I kind of told them that the manager was an asshole, and I didn't like him, and I got treated like shit, and it didn't change anything in the company. Nothing good happened. You know what I mean? In the end, but I quit the job. And then once I got on the other side of this situation, once I was out, it just started to feel like, well, I don't know, there's money out there. You can figure out how to get your hands on some of it. So I went to college and used financial aid, like hustled financial aid for 4 years or 5 years, and then boom, this started working out. So like I always tell people, if they're worried about money and like a job, the smartest thing you can do is fucking, I mean, if you don't, I had a kid and a wife, and we were really broke, and it was really tough for those early times. But like, I, I was just like, I gotta do this. Isn't working, and it keeps getting worse and worse and worse for my mental health. So that's why I always tell people, it's like, I don't know, if you can quit and still have a place to live and buy yourself 3 or 4 months to figure out how to bring money in, you will figure out how to bring money in, because I did a couple times over that time. So it's just about like sitting around and trying to think like, what is the minimum amount, or sort of what's the minimum amount of work I could do for the maximum amount of money, I think. And how much do I need? How much can I live on, and stuff like that. So I don't know. I've never I hope you figure something out, Hank. I think you will. You're a pretty resourceful dude, and you have like that carpentry experience.
Well, and I'm a business genius like you. You know, you
Yeah,
got your
but
idea
you could
to do
strip.
regular price stripper. I could.
You could
I
strip.
would. Do you think there would be stripper customers that would be turned on by a guy who gets out of breath really quickly?
I
I'd be
mean,
so out
there's
of breath.
always gonna be
But
somebody for anybody. Yeah, you got to maybe. I
Mhm.
mean, you talk to Grayson about maybe getting in better cardiovascular health, but I think you could
Yeah,
do it, Hank.
that-
I think
I should talk.
there's a stripper for every
Go ahead.
woman out there. There's a type for every woman. A man is a stripper type for every. I am like a stripper type for somebody that likes Limp Bizkit. So
Right. Yeah. I said in the chat, like I'm the guy. I have the body type of the before photo. That's me. Yeah. That's there's a lot of women settle. Women have been taught to have terrible and low standards. So guys like me can get laid, although it's been many years. It's been decades.
But like, I don't know what kind of padding you have money wise, you know. But like,
yeah,
if you can figure out a way to, somebody in the chat, where's it at, on here said that's why I work 18 hours a week, and it's 18 hours, and that's less than 40. And if you can live on whatever that is, because the other thing about people is like, everybody has like, to me, it feels like everybody has a different level of comfort that they need. Now, mine is incredibly high. You know, since, I don't know, I think for the past like 5 years, mine has gotten really high. But like, I think that, like, I know there are people that can live with less than me. I know there are people that don't have air conditioning, that don't use any of that stuff. I was at the in-laws yesterday, and I mean, they ain't even using the fucking heat. They're making their own cough syrup. So, you know, but they're fine with that. You know, that's crazy though. Did you see that, Hank?
Right. I did see it on Twitter. It's quite a gift to just offer somebody a potion. That's
She didn't even fucking
Something
tell
else.
us what's in it. She didn't even fucking tell us what's in it. They're preppers.
Yeah.
It's a prepper thing.
Right. Which means poisoning yourself out in the woods after like a year or two after you get scared out of your suburb.
I hadn't been to their house,
yeah.
and I hadn't been to their house in like maybe 8 months, and I got over there, and the room we usually sit in to watch TV was like more than half full with like canned stuff, and she handed us like a bunch of note cards saying like, if you have this sickness, use honey. If you have this sickness, use this herb. And it's like, I get my medicine from the store. Like I think the store has all the best medicine, in my opinion.
You don't follow the Witcher 3 for your medicine?
I don't know where, but somebody did Garbage Ape was telling me that his sister gave him homemade cough syrup last year. I think it's a thing for like the prepper community, or like, because my in-laws think it's over, that it's all over. They want us to move out of downtown because they think the city's falling apart, and I'm like, guys, it's safer here. You stay there. I mean, it's safe where they are too. That's the thing that drives me fucking crazy. They live in the middle of fucking nowhere, and they're like, oh, society's gonna crumble. It's like, dude, who cares? You're not even in society. You're all the way outside of society. Oh God, unelectable airwaves says, I thought you lefties hated big pharma. I do hate big pharma. I don't want to take medicine, okay? Or I don't want to take homemade medicine. She drew a fucking skull and crossbones on it. That makes me uncomfortable. I do hate pharma.
I mean,
I don't, they're not vaccinated. You know what I mean?
Sure. Your assessment of how they assess information and how they make decisions is a way that you can trust whether maybe they didn't do the research required to make homemade cough syrup. Like my brother is a scientist, and if he made homemade cough syrup, I know how his brain works. I know he's a brilliant person, and I know he knows how to sterilize glass. So I would probably trust his homemade cough syrup, although I'd still think it'd be a little weird. Like, all right, well, this is, but yeah,
weird,
it's when you know how someone sort of how they gather up information to make decisions. You know what news they watch, more or less. You know what kind of logical centers they have to operate with. That's how you sort of assess what this stuff is. And they have just no idea that their fear is just being monetized. Their fear is being intentionally implanted by the media they watch, and then being monetized on top of that, because that's the whole point of this fucking sick society.
Yeah, I mean, I have gotten stuff too that's homemade that people have sent us in the mail.
I love
the street fight.
Yeah, homemade shit's
people.
cool though.
I like homemade
Go
stuff.
ahead, yeah.
I'm not even against making your own shit. I just think like if you're watching the Angry Prepper, if your information is coming from the Angry Prepper, which I keep forgetting, I want to do a show where we play some audio from the Angry Prepper, because that's their like big thing. And they just spend all day watching YouTube, and they didn't get the vaccine, which I thought, that's the other thing. That's such a stupid decision to make. Why would I trust you with medical information? Like teaching me what to do medically, when you won't even take a fucking vaccine. You won't. I don't know. It's crazy. It is crazy over at that house. I hadn't been there in so long, and like we're sitting there, and these motherfuckers are playing Christmas music on YouTube. All they watch is YouTube, Hank. That's it. They watch YouTube all fucking day, nothing else. And I go, hey, you should get YouTube Premium, because it'll make your experience 1,000,000 times better, right? Like if all you watch is YouTube, then you can pay the $16 a month to have the one thing. I'm not telling them to be like me and get every single streaming service that exists. I'm saying get one, and that's YouTube Premium. And so they're trying to play Christmas music, and fucking all of a sudden, in the middle of it, a mid-roll ad plays,
and it's fucking 9 minutes long. You have to hit skip ad, and we're just sitting there watching an ad for like 5 minutes before they figure it out. And then I am like, just like, I'm like, okay, what? And then all of a sudden it rolls into a Buddy Brown song, which is, the it's like Democrats don't deserve Christmas. And I'm just sitting there, and me and my daughter are watching it. They don't even know it's going, but they're playing it. You know what I mean? And it was just great. It was so fucking funny. They were also using YouTube for music, means that like they can't get copyright striked. So we're listening to like Last Christmas, but a karaoke version of it, not like the fake version that they have because they can't get the rights. So it is fucking nuts. But yeah, I just got premium
I think
for Shocktober stuff, by the way.
Oh yeah, it's fine. You do content shit for a living. You can justify it for whatever. Their whole like, I think this is true for all, not just Trump supporters, but as you get older and you start to experience other people's homes when you visit them, the like older you are, the more you're just like, man, I can't believe people fucking live like that, because everybody has such disparate sort of lifestyles. I mean, there's plenty of crossover and similarities because we're all kind of influenced by the culture the way it is, but you learn how someone else lives. It's just like, Jesus, don't they ever wipe up their oh God, why do they have all those weird beer cans on the wall or something? Not that that's a bad thing to do, but yeah, man. Or when someone hasn't updated their decorations since the late 80s, or worse, the late 70s.
TV too high. That's my new thing now, because somebody pointed it out on fucking Twitter yesterday that Reddit there's a subreddit called TV too high. So I started fucking looking at it, and it is so funny. People's TVs are too high. Put it on a table, But yeah, I don't know.
Oh yeah, the TV above the fireplace is the worst. The TV up above that's too high for standing and watching TV, let alone sitting way back on a couch. Way up TV's no bueno.
Old people putting their TV up to touch the ceiling, because I think they see that people hang it on their wall, and they're like, why would you put it in the middle of the wall? My TV sits on a fucking thing. I've never mounted a TV. I'm afraid to, because I know it falls if I do it. I'm just not. I mean, I know how to do stuff. I just don't want to do it. So I love it though. I love TV Too High. Everybody, if you've never seen TV Too High, just go scroll through it. People's setups are fucked. Everybody's fucking setup is such a mess. I keep telling, like, goodness gracious. So, people can see the picture of my in-laws' TV setup, and it is just wires everywhere. There's a goddamn extension cord sticking out above the TV. It's just
right.
It's too much.
Smooth
Psychic Gasoline
or whatever.
I got to say this to Psychic Gasoline because he's doing this as a joke, but this is something that people know about me. I want the first row at the movie theater at home. People will not go to the movies with me anymore because I sit in the front row. My wife.
You do on purpose?
Oh God, I love it. My wife and I have like a deal where like we sit in the third row, but I'm front row all the way. That's the best place to sit. Front row in the middle.
That's a hard one. I remember seeing some Die Hard movie. It was like the biggest screen, and I was in the front row on the far left corner, and it was just it was brutal. I couldn't see anything at all. But I mean the immersion thing makes sense.
I'm an immersion guy,
in the front row if I could have a choice. What?
You fucking go see a movie like fucking with a bunch of shit, like with a bunch of like cars and guns and noise, and you're in the front row. It's great. You can have this fucking being far away at home. You can put your TV too high. I don't get it. I don't know you back row people. You just want to be on the outside. It's a real ironic distance sort of situation, You want to be able to
I get
be
it.
in the back so you can see everybody's fucking heads and goof on them or something. I'm trying to have fun. I go to the movies. I'm there for a movie experience. Front row is the only place to be.
I hear you.
Now
And it
everybody's
puts
making
your
fun of me in
head
the chat.
in front of everybody else. Although not really,
Yeah.
depending on the stadium.
Well, yeah, but I also wear a hoodie to the movies most of the time, and I put the hood up and I wear my hat and I slink down in the chair like I'm almost like laying down. So it's pretty wild. So
it's a sensory overload. You like to just bask in the light and the sound and being right up in it all. I get it. That's cool. I'm not judging. I don't do that.
Did
I
Avatar
prefer
happen?
My chin tested, but I hear you.
Is Avatar out? Somebody just said we didn't talk about Avatar. I didn't know it was out. I'm gonna go see it.
I don't know if it's out. Might be. I can't tell
My
if anything's
wife
out
won't.
anymore. The whole world is topsy turvy. There's no new
wife
movie
is so
releases
nervous.
anymore. Like when we were young lads.
Thursday. My wife won't go to movies like that with me because she knows I'm going as a goof. She won't go to the movies I go see as a goof, where it's like, hey, let's go see. Well, she went to Bullet Train with me, which is not a good movie, but we enjoyed it. But like, if I go see a funny bad movie, she's like, I'm not going to that. So she probably won't go to Avatar. I have to go by myself. But Hank, I got 3 calls left in the queue, and I love talking to you, but I got to answer the phone for them too. You have a good
buddy.
night,
We'll talk about I want to talk about some business ideas for 2020. You and me are going to have a big year.
Okay, let's do it, man. Let's do it. I'm ready for some biz. All right. Goodbye, Hank. Oh, I dropped the call. All right. There is room in the queue. There was 3 calls, including Hank. So if you want to call, you will get through. Or if you don't want to call, I'll quit early. I don't know. It's quitting time. I got a lot to do tomorrow. I'm recording 3 podcasts tomorrow. So, hello. Thank you for calling Street Fight. It's me. I think I know who this is. Is this Bear?
Oh, fuck yeah, it's Bear.
All right. I get you. I know your phone number. It tells me everything I need to know. How's it going, Bear? How's the working at a car dealership life going?
Oh, it's great. Everyone joined together on Saturday and complaining about disabled people. It was a wondrous experience. Really filled my heart with joy.
like the workers like just in their conversation where you're having goof time and they did that.
Yeah. Like we were just sitting around having downtime, and they all just decided to like make fun of a disabled guy who was on the internet. I don't even remember who it was. It was some like TikTok dude or something. But yeah, they just all made fun of him for being disabled. It was a great time. I hated it.
Yeah, I mean that's something you got to put up with when you're working in those kind of. I mean, I think I told you guys this last week or recently. I know I had to have told you about my boss telling me racist jokes. Like when I worked at the cable company, I had a guy that worked in a warehouse that would pull me aside. He worked in a warehouse, the only white guy in the warehouse. Everybody else in the warehouse black. This motherfucker pulled me aside and tell me racist jokes all the time. And I just remember being like, man, and he was the boss of the warehouse, right? So he's the boss of a bunch of black people, and he doesn't what's the word? He doesn't hire. So he is like the boss of people that he doesn't choose, They get hired in the warehouse and then he's the manager, and he used to pull me aside all the time and tell me racist jokes. That's like one of the reasons why I kind of don't talk. That's like one of the reasons why like I kind of became who I am in regards to like the anti-racist stuff and stuff like that, was just that like these people go to work every day for a guy that doesn't have any respect for him at all. You know what I mean? It really made me mad.
Well, what's really weird to me is like, I don't know what it is about kitchens, but there's a lot of homophobia in kitchens. Like just a lot of homophobia.
Well,
like,
that's just guys touching each other's hogs and stuff like that, right? Is that what you're saying, Bear? Like in a kitchen, it's all guys like pretending to be gay or whatever.
Well, it's that, and it's also just constant like jokes about gay guys and saying that stuff is gay, like using it like an insult and shit.
That's
Like that just
insane.
happens all the time.
That's crazy
But
to say
like,
now.
but like outside of the homophobia, kitchens are generally kind of progressive, you know? Like I've never heard a whole lot of like racism or ableism or anything. But now working at this job, I've heard not a single homophobic comment come out of anyone's mouth, but just everything else is ramped up to 10. It's like, well,
I
I
would
guess
say-
my personal oppression is getting ignored, but damn, feel bad for the rest of these fuckers.
Yeah, I would say like at like a place like that, it is. I mean, I think that like it's because the people at the job, right, are hearing all the time that it's not okay to make fun of gay people. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just like because they're whatever they consume is either a person saying it's not okay to make fun of gay people, or that it's not okay to or that, you know, political correctness means you can't do that, so I don't want to get in trouble, right? But ableism is a thing that like I don't even think a lot of I don't even think a lot of people outside of like the kind of discourse we have even know what it is. You know what I mean? Like I mean, my daughter said there's kids in her school that use the R word, and you know, the Zoomers that are going to save us, you know?
Yeah, there's just so much of it, dude. I hear that word so often that it's like lost all meaning to me. Like it doesn't even feel like a slur at this point. It's just 3 syllables that gets voiced by like people who work on cars, you know? It's fucking wild.
Yeah, cuz I really do you know, for people like that, it for people who are still saying that, they would need to meet somebody that has some kind of disability for them to care enough to not say it. Because if you're still saying it now, and again, you really don't see a lot of people saying not to be ableist, in my opinion. Like I see it, but if you're watching like mainstream TV or anything like that, that's not like, it's weird, but that's like not the lesson that they teach on TV anymore.
Well,
you know?
There's like a lot of shit like that where like I kind of forget that not everyone knows shit like that. Like the other day I was reading some shit and I was like, oh, this is fucking awful. And I was reading about the power grid attacks in North Carolina, right? And the dude was the dude that I was talking to about it. He's like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. And I forgot that that's not like news to these people, because of course it's not, you know?
It's not, yeah, things
Like,
don't get to people.
They're not fucking concerned with whether or not there's power for like a drag show. They don't give a shit. That's not news to them.
Well, and also like that's something I've said, that conservatives, I feel like, overplay their hand when it comes to the drag show thing, is that like I don't think people care that much in everyday life about like these drag brunches, right? Or whatever they're doing, because nobody's being forced to go to drag brunches.
Yeah.
So regular people, I mean, it's not even something that people are even fucking thinking about. And
it's not
I think
something that you just fucking stumble into, you know? Like, I'm not walking around downtown and I slip into the library and I'm watching Trans Story Time, you know? That doesn't fucking happen. It's just the kind of people who are there know what they're doing. They know what they're bringing their kids to, you know? It's just so fucking stupid to be like, they're actually preying on it makes no goddamn sense.
it doesn't. And again, the thing I've felt about the whole fucking time is like, look, I didn't want to take my kid to church. You know what I mean? And I just didn't do that. I didn't say you got to close church from now on. You know? I didn't say just because I don't want my kid to go to church, I think you got to close all the churches. That would be fucking great. And like I think that is like,
they don't care though. They are being whipped into a frenzy by some of the dumbest motherfuckers in the world. So it's just one of those things, and
it's
it
rules
is
for
so
thee
weird.
and not for me.
Yeah.
That's all.
We can't do our stuff. Yeah, we're not allowed to do our stuff. Yeah, I mean it's really weird. And that shit that's happened with you at work has been something that has plagued me like sort of my whole life. Well, not my whole life. In the past like 10, 15 years is that thing of like, okay, so like at what point do I say something about it? How do I make a determination on whether or not this is people being hateful or people being ignorant or people just goofing? Which obviously, even if they're just goofing, you kind of don't. That's not something that I would goof about.
You can't just fucking goof about that,
Yeah. So what it always comes to me, what it ends up becoming for me personally is saying I wouldn't say this. I've always been a big proponent of if you're goofing with somebody and they say something or something like that, just like, well, that's not something I'd say. I mean, I'm not, because then it turns into a free speech thing where they start screaming at you about free speech. So like for me,
dude.
it's always very much about like, it's very much about me like kind of emphasizing my commitment to free speech, but also to say like, I don't know, that's not something I would joke about, or that's not something I don't know, that's kind of hacky, goofing on them for doing a bad joke or whatever. But I don't even think that's the right way to do things. I never know. Like I never know how to handle that kind of stuff.
I'm going to be honest, I'm not afraid of confrontation, but I never know how to handle that either, because it's like, I'm not doing anything productive, Like, I'm not afraid of getting yelled at, but I am, like, afraid that I'm wasting my time and that I should have done it a different way that would have been more effective, The confrontation doesn't scare me. The lack of effectiveness does. But, I mean, if you want to talk about that, like, free speech thing, I got a fucking another batshit insane story for you from my work. Fucking I had to pull in this truck to work on it, right? And on his like front license plate holder, because I don't know how it is in Ohio, but here in Georgia we don't actually need front license plates, so people just put like stupid shit on the front of it,
Yeah, they do that here.
So,
no, they don't, not anymore. But they did for a period of time. Yeah.
So the dude had this plate that was just a Confederate flag with deer standing in front of it, right? And so I pulled it in. And when I saw it while I was like putting it on the fucking lift, I said, "Oh hell yeah, these deer are racist." Is just word for word what I said, right? Which should objectively be seen as just some stupid shit, right?
Just joking around, having a good time.
Should hear that. Yeah, no sane person should hear that and get mad. But this fucking dude, one of the like actual full text that like rebuilds the engines and shit, he's like, "Well, why do you say those deer are racist? Just because of the flag? The flag ain't racist." And I was like, I'm not fucking arguing with a grown man in the year 2022 about whether the Confederate flag is racist. And he was like, "It's about my heritage. I fly it all the time." And then I was like, dude, I don't fucking care if you fly it or not. That flag is racist. If I see you flying that flag, I'm going to think that you're racist. It's kind of like how you may not be racist, but you may say the N-word, and I'm still going to think you're racist for saying the N-word, That's still a racist thing to do, even if you don't, like, hate those people specifically.
That might be I mean, you're basically doing, sort of my kind of, well, I don't, because that's really like, we can't, honestly, yes, we can yell at people every time. And far be it from me to tell people that are fine with confrontation that they can yell at people when they're racist around them. I fucking wish I could. And, but like, I'm always like, well, if I can get this person to understand, why this is not cool. And, again, you told them like, you didn't tell them you're racist or whatever. You said, if I see that flag and you're flying it, I'm going to think you're racist, which is something that like they can't deny your experience. You know what I mean? They'll try
Right.
or whatever, but it's like you can't deny what my opinion's going to be. My opinion's going to be that you're racist. You can fly it. I don't care. I'm not going to tell you not to fly it. I'm telling you that when I see it, I'm going to think you're racist. And like that is a really, I mean, and you know, obviously also they're playing ignorant and they fucking know. You know what I mean? Like they know that
Well,
you're
like,
going to think they're racist.
what really pissed me off about that whole thing is that after that interaction happened, he fucking like went to the boss and complained that I said that, right? He was like, he's over
No.
here hating on my speech and my expression of my heritage and shit. And I'm like, you can't tell me I can't make fun of the Confederate flag. You can't do that shit. Like, you can't.
Well, that
You
is,
can't just
I
be
mean,
like
that's the thing.
a conservative free speech guy and say I can't make fun of that.
Well, that's the thing about free speech to those people, right? Like to a lot of these people, the thing about free speech is going to be, I want to be able to say it, and I don't want you to be able to make fun of me or tell me I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Basically what they're shooting for a lot of times. I want to say this thing, and then if you tell me I'm wrong or tell me to shut up, then that is against my free speech. And it's generally whatever they're saying is like the most hateful shit you've ever heard anybody say.
Dude, my favorite response now when people talk about free speech, you know, if somebody tries to say, well, I have a right to the freedom of speech in an argument, my boyfriend got me started on this. He used to always say freedom of speech protects you from the government, not from the Evan. So I'm like, hey, well, like freedom of speech protects you from the government, not from the bear. Like that doesn't apply to this fucking conversation.
That's what I always say. Yeah. I mean, I'm all for free speech. You can say whatever the fuck you want, and I can say whatever I want in response. And that's I mean, that's really what it is. You know, we make fun of the like sort of free speech people online, your Dave Chappelle's and you know, guys like that just want to say like the nastiest stuff in the world. We make fun of them, but I am like a pretty absolutist when it comes to that stuff. But I'm also I'm also just like, you know, the fact that we have it, the fact that we're allowed to do this, that you're allowed to have free speech, you're allowed to say whatever you want, like means that everybody else is allowed to too. So me saying something to you is not taking it away from you. You fucking said it. You're not in any trouble. But they say something racist, they perceive that they're going to be in trouble for it. So they have to get out ahead of it.
It's so childish, right? It's just denying all responsibility. It's this idea that freedom of speech means that there are no consequences for the stupid shit that I say, you know? Like, that's insane logic. Like, the thing that I really want them to realize is, like, you have the freedom to do whatever the fuck you want, but there are consequences for those things. And you guys, like, endorse that shit, you know? Like, you endorse it when a cop kills somebody and you say, well, that's a consequence of their action. But when I say you're racist for saying racist stuff as a consequence of your action, now I'm, like, a problem. Now I'm, like, overstepping common decency.
You're the government. The government just comes in and yeah. I mean, and you know, when you're at work, you're going to work with all different sorts of people. So, you know, you know, this stuff is going to happen. You know, if you're lucky, it's not like your boss or somebody that's beyond reproach in a way. Like you don't want to, you know, lose your job, but you know, I freeze up all the time when it comes to that stuff. I don't know. I'm so scared to say something, and that shouldn't be me. And it's, you know, obviously, like you say, it's a function of sort of my privilege that I cannot say something. It doesn't, a straight white guy, you know what I mean? But like that's the other thing. They say that straight white men are under attack. And like I never perceived that as being the case. I perceived other people are talking, but like I don't feel like I'm under attack from anybody. You know what I mean? I run around in the spaces that they say are under attack, but I've always felt like it doesn't fucking hurt my feelings if you tell me I have white privilege. Like, that doesn't make me sad, and it's not supposed to make you sad. It's supposed to be something that you look at and try to alleviate, you know?
I feel like we might just start asking them to like put like an actual name to these people. You know, they're like, well, you know, the straight whites are under attack. And it's like, by who? You know, say who you're under attack by. You know, because I feel like it'll back for some of them that are able to think a little bit. I think it might back them into a corner of like, oh shit, maybe I'm just a Nazi. You know?
Yeah, yeah. But I don't think anybody wants to be a Nazi, really. I mean, you know, obviously there's like some people that want to, but
oh yeah, there are people who want to be Nazis.
Yeah, but not a ton is what I'm saying. Most conservatives, and I would even say most Trump voters, I don't think most of them would like to be considered a Nazi. You know,
I will say this: nobody outright starts out just wanting to be a Nazi. You know?
Yeah.
There's like a long ass period of like slow burning before you become a Nazi.
Yeah, but most people, if you say, I think you're being a Nazi, they would be like, oh no, I don't want to be one of those. You know?
Yeah, they're like, I'm not a Nazi. Never.
Yeah. And I just, like I said, I just don't know if it just doesn't, none of this shit, none of the left stuff hurts my feelings. It's not a big deal to me. Not everything's fucking about you, white person. You know what I mean? Like, that's the other thing I think is like, these people get mad because somebody says something, and then they're just like, they're so fucking mad about it. It's like, I mean, they're not even fucking talking about you, dude. Guy that, like, when people talk about rich people not paying their fair share, and some guy that makes like $600,000 a year is like, what do you mean? I worked hard. It's like, we're not fucking talking about you. Don't flatter yourself, motherfucker. We're talking about people like 10 levels above you.
It's also that thing I had to keep telling my dad until it finally got through his school and he finally shut the fuck up about it for the most part, which is like, you know, they're always like, well, that's not me, you know, because we'll talk about this group of people and we'll say bad things about them and they'll be like, well, I'm in that group, but that's not me. And it's like, then we're not fucking talking. Then why does it bother you? If that's not you, then it's not you. If someone's in a public place calling out these people that are being a problem and I'm not one of those people, then I fucking ignore it. Just ignore it.
Yeah. You know, I mean, it's just not every well, and you know, when it comes, I hate to use words like this because people will goof on me, but like, you know, we're so used to like centering ourselves in any kind of discourse for especially for, you know, white men, that I just think that that's the reason why the skin is so thin when it comes to that stuff, because we just feel like we're the center of everything. It's all the whole thing's about us, and for a long time, that's what it was. That's what like society was. So I think that's like the main reason that they always think somebody's yelling about them when, you know, we know if you're not a problem, then they're not talking about you.
Yeah,
that's
if
the best
really
answer I can
problem, then stop caring.
Yeah, fucking worry about it. Go do something else. Quit arguing with everybody. Well, Bear, I got more calls in now, so I got to get those so that I can get to bed on time so I can do 87 podcasts tomorrow.
Absolutely. I'm going to go get really high and drink eggnog and watch Christmas Vacation.
Ooh, okay. Well, enjoy that. I hope you enjoy it. I'll talk to you next week, Bear. One more fucking week before my vacation.
Hell yeah. See you next week, man.
I will. One more week. Hello there. You're talking to Brian. What you doing?
Hey, Brian. Oh, I'm chilling.
Hey.
You know, it's Sunday night. Just trying to, you know, steel myself up for the week. Big, boring, dull week ahead of me. So, yeah.
This is a bad week, though, right? Like like so close to time off for a lot of people. It's just like
yeah, it's been bad. It's just been like just limping to the barn, you know.
Yeah, I am too. I did so I actually looked this up for people to hear me whine a little bit. I think, you know, some of the people waiting on hold heard me whining about it earlier, but when I finished Shocktober this year, I counted how many shows I would have to record in order to take a month off and give the same amount of content, 100% new content the whole time, because you know I wasn't going to do it if I couldn't do that. And you know we did some tricks last year or whatever, and it worked, but I wanted to see if I could figure it out. So that day I figured out I need 14 extra podcasts, and I have a spreadsheet. There were a couple days last week where I did 15. What did I do? 8 hours of podcast in 15 hours. It's fucking crazy. But these shows are great. I think it's going to be all worth it in the end, because every one of these shows, I don't know every one. It's been a long time since I did them, but I do know that all the shows I've done have been fucking really fun. They are specific to the time that they're happening, most of them. And, you know, Dane Cook. You get to hear me talk about Dane Cook for a month. How could you not want
Hell
that?
yeah.
So,
yeah,
I'm sorry.
Gutshot. That's it.
Gutshot's I had to do Gutshot. The thing about Gutshot was that it was an idea so that I didn't have to watch anything other than live on the show. So I'm glad you're liking Gutshot, because I'm having a lot of fun doing that.
I thought that like I saw when Greg Gutfeld was first getting his show on the air, like and everybody was sharing like the first episode he did, and it was so bad and he was bombing so constantly, and I just assumed that it had been canceled. And now I'm finding out that like he's just been doing it this whole time, and the show's like you're saying like the most watched, technically like the highest rated show on TV. It's just like, really?
Yeah, with some number tricks, with a few numbers tricks. I think you're gonna find out this week. Oh no, you found out this week that I talked to some of my wrestling friends and asked them to look into the ratings, and it's just tricks. He's just doing tricks. You know, he's not competing in the same area as Jimmy Fallon, Seth Meyers, any of those guys. He's not. That's not the demos he's going for. So it's just him. It's bluster. Plus he has a 35-minute head start on the ratings and all that stuff. So he's full of shit. And also people leave their fucking TV on Fox all day. They're just, there's fucking, and you know, you're gonna feel real bad when you hear somebody say this, but there's people that just wake up and turn that shit on and don't turn it off.
Oh no, yeah, like a few of my friends, like their folks, like are big like Fox News heads, and like they get home from work at the end of the day and just sit in front of the TV and get freaking angry, like on purpose, like they'll just sit there and just get serious, like watching this stuff, getting mad about nothing. It's crazy.
You know what I think goes on with some of those people is that they feel like they're like sort of sharpening their swords against who they perceive to be the people that are watching CNN all day. And they're like, just like, I know all them liberals and leftists are sitting at home watching CNN, and I got to sharpen my sword to deal with these people.
Yeah, it's funny too, because I like the folks that I know of that do that, they don't like leave their house. So yeah, they're probably doing that, but also just like building up their army to not fight and sharpening their swords to not go out.
Let me answer a question here in the chat. JJ Sanders says, when does Now We're Cooking drop? You got this week, Gutshot with Jesse Hawken. Next week is the special Christmas present Gutshot, where I did an episode with that. The panel was Mike Rowe, Tyrus, Kat Timpf, and John Taffer. And then the week after that, will be the first episode of Gut Shot, which I think is going to be Vicious Circle will be the first one. So we will be, you know, kind of starting at the peak. And then today I just watched Isolated Incident from 2009, and it is really, I shouldn't even say what I think of it because I'm going to do a podcast where I say that. But yeah, it's a different one. It's strange. So sorry, I keep hijacking your call. What's going on tonight?
Oh, good. I'm a tech worker. I was wondering if you want to hear about some like funny shit that goes on in like corporate America. It's goofy out here.
Yeah. Are you tech support or what, like internal tech support? Is that what you do?
I'm a data analyst. Actually, I work in SEO right now.
You're lucky though, because I was gonna tell you that if you do the internal, and I'm sure there's 100 people listening to this show right now, they're gonna get super mad at me. But I really think in corporate America, the most hated people are the tech people.
Yeah, it's. I mean, because we're like we're not doing the really bad shit, or a lot of the time it's usually people above us, like to decide what bad shit to do, and we're just kind of foot soldiers for them.
Well, and I gotta tell you, and you're not in this field, but the tech support workers at a company that if your computer fucks up, they got to come and fix it. They're some of the meanest people in the world. I cannot think of a more surly bunch of people.
I've tended to have good experiences with at least like I was working at a bigger company before. We had a big like tech support team. They were good folks, and they were generally pleasant to be around, but they did their job.
We know the bad guy. Like the bad guys are the executives. We know that. I'm just saying that like people that aren't like sort of radicalized or whatever are definitely. If you said what department do you hate the most at work? Because my wife.
Oh, I get your meaning. Yeah.
Yeah, my wife is not fond of them at all.
Yeah, I don't do that side of it. I'm on the analytics side, but I've definitely heard my share of people having issues with tech support. It hasn't been my experience yet, but that's how it goes.
One day. Well, hopefully it doesn't. So we got a few minutes here. Give me the best story here. I would love to hear something here. Give me your number one idea.
The best one. I mean, it's more just I don't usually have like the really funny stories. It's usually my friends who like really looked into like the 3-hour-a-day jobs, like where like just nobody's got their head on straight. Like they got the really funny stories. I don't think I have my permission to share those though.
What's a 3 hour the people that are work from home that only have 3 hours of work a day?
Yeah. Some of my friends are like really only a couple. Like you gotta get really lucky. But some of my friends have like those kind of jobs. It really depends on like how good your company is at time tracking. I don't have that arrangement, but yeah, some of my friends like. So just like imagine the kind of company like where like you're only working 3 hours a day, and like who your boss is, and like what kind of like nonsense. So yeah, my day-to-day is like not that funny. It's more just kind of like sad, because like I said before, I'm in search engine optimization. I've noticed that like people are starting to like more and more notice how like search engines are just like really bad, and that's kind of like the industry I work in. Like that's our fault.
I was gonna ask if you were in Silicon Valley, but I that would probably reveal too much, or I don't want you to have to answer that. But I do want to say, Do you look at the Blind app by any chance?
Blind. Well, I'm not in Silicon Valley. I work remotely, but not from Silicon. I stay as far away from there as I possibly can.
So there is.
But we don't
there
use Blind app now.
So there's an app called Blind. Okay, and it's kind of like LinkedIn in a way. It's like but it's all anonymous. So it's people, it's tech people mostly. You don't see a lot of other people. It's like people that work at Amazon, people that work at Google, people that work like at all of those sorts of places, and they're talking about their work. And like, I would have believed that they were all like living a weird kind of good life, but these are some of the most miserable. These people are more miserable than the roofers when I was roofing. And like,
yeah,
it's also just a weird. Yeah, that Blind app is
crazy. I mean,
yeah, that Blind app is fucking weird.
But and like, it's freaky right now because like you worry about like what kind of precedent it's setting with like Elon Musk like kind of like getting a leg up in tech and trying to bring like it seems like Tesla type work conditions like into like Twitter and all the bosses that I've ever had are like big time like they love Elon Musk so like we're just always worried about like are they taking notes, are they gonna it freaks us all out. But at least I mean it does look like people are starting to organize more and more in the industry. So that's
great.
Positive. But yeah.
Well, hey,
just,
I got to get the rest of the calls here. I appreciate because I had some people call in while you were waiting. But I want to thank you for calling. And
yeah, thanks for hanging out, bud. Appreciate you chatting with me.
No, thank you. Have a good night. Have a good night. It's a nighttime city in a bing bang bong. Wait a minute. I just saw something in the chat that I gotta. Security is truly rolling the boulder up the hill forever, though. Okay, you've pretty much volunteered to be a shit magnet for all kinds of inane dysfunction. Hardy's T800. Are you talking about being in the security department at work, or tech security? Because I'm gonna tell you right now. I really fucking hated the security guys. So I guess I have to say security guys. Well, the CEO, the executives, the security guys are the tech support guys and the security guys. That's how it goes. At the cable company, it was called like the head end was the big time technical area. Only like 4 people worked in there, and they were the meanest people in the world. And if you ever ask them to do anything, they fucking hate you. So they would just be so mean. But yeah, let's get this next call. Well, hello. You're talking to Brian. What's up?
Hey, what's up, man? It's Alex from Florida.
What's up, Alex from Florida? How's it going?
Hey, it's good. It's good. I've been listening a long time. Been a patron for a couple years. I thought I'd call. First time calling. I actually keep like a running list of like funny stuff I think that I could maybe say on the show, but I thought I'd keep it current. Say something kind of like funny that happened today.
Go for it.
All right. Yeah. No. So I have this like pretty old van. I'm going on a family vacation, driving up to North Carolina next week, and the last time I went on, I had a tire explode on I-75 going like 90 miles an hour with like me and my fiance, our kids in the car. So it kind of put a little bit of a damper on the trip initially. But so I wanted to get like an oil change and everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I wanted to get an oil change, just to make sure the car's in good shape. I got like new wipers and stuff. And so I, give my keys to the lady, and then I go shopping for a little while, and I come back, and I'm like, oh, this is like $15 more than the charge. Like, what's that extra charge? Just like super friendly, because I've been in customer service like my whole life too. And And the lady's like, "Oh, well, I told you when you dropped off the keys, like you need like a special fancy filter for your car, and there's these other little charges. You need a little extra oil, and I specifically told you like this is going to be an expensive filter like on here." And I was going to drop it, Brian, but she said it 2 times. So I told her, I was like, "Okay, yeah, I understand it's a different filter, but you were not the person who helped me."
I mean, that is.
So
I think they're trained. I think they're, at the oil change place. I mean, they're trained to try to, because I don't think that's oil change place isn't like a specialized thing, right? Like I could go get a job at the oil change place, right? Like tomorrow. I obviously, it's not like it's bullshit work, but I'm saying that they hire people that don't have like mechanic experience and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, I mean,
I
well, this
think.
was like it's like at a Walmart like by my house. So
Yes,
it's just
definitely.
like a couple like just the revolving door of clerks just coming through, like helping people as they come up.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
I
people
just thought that was really
love
funny.
getting their
Just like telling me that.
people love getting their oil changed at Walmart, and they're always telling me I should do that. But it also sort of feels like they say it's cheap, but it also is like it takes a long time. And what I'm a fan of is the places. It's Valvoline is the one I go to because they have Groupons. You go to Groupon, you get a Valvoline coupon, you go to the Valvoline, you just sit in your car while they do it, and then boom, you're out. It's a 15-minute thing. You can sit in there and look at your phone, and it's really nice. And that's what I would do if I was getting my oil changed. But I hope your truck.
Yeah, it's not bad.
I thought you said you saw. I was going to tell you because I thought you said you saw a truck explode on the road on the way to vacation, and you obviously were listening when probably when I had my Kia Soul vacation. That was hell.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, you
But
didn't
no,
want that shit happening.
I thought you were saying something about tires like not too long ago too.
Yeah, I gotta put tires
Like
on
you
the
were
fucking
having
car.
issues with tires, or you changed them, or you were like putting it off, or something. I don't remember. Something with tires. But,
yeah,
but
I mean,
it
I just
exploded,
plugged
like going 90
one.
miles an hour down the interstate. Very scary with like kids in the car.
Yeah,
it's fine.
I remember one
Yeah.
time I was
But,
driving out of town to go to DC. I think me and the wife and the kid were going to DC, and we're driving. We look over on the other side of the road, and there is like a Winnebago camper that the whole fucking side of it was taken off. Like a truck must have fucking just ran right into it, and like I was just looking at it like, what the fuck do you even do? Like it looked fucking crazy to me. And it was like, oh, I'm glad I don't drive a big vehicle, I guess. And then continued on the old trip.
Yeah, goddamn.
Well,
yeah,
I want to thank you for
I know
calling.
You got a bunch of calls. I thought I'd give that like silly little like anecdote that happened today. But I did want to. Could I plug something real quick?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, I'll be real quick. Yeah, I wrote a book that was like published. It's a little like publishing house. It's like a kid's book. It's an ABC book of animal misconceptions. Just I did all the artwork for it, and the text looks really good. I actually sent one to you guys for Charlotte, but it got returned sent to me. So I don't know what's up with the PO boxes and stuff.
That's something that it's something I'll handle at some point. But if you message me and I can get stuff to Charlotte, if you get a hold of me, I've been just letting people, basically saying you can give them my address and let them send stuff to me, which is
all right,
probably
yeah,
not
maybe I can send you a message
the
or
smartest
something.
thing. But
Okay,
if you
but
message
yeah,
me,
it's
I'll
called
look
Bats
into it.
Aren't Birds, an ABC book of animal misconceptions. It came out really nice. Worked with like an independent publisher here in Florida, and it's a perfect gift if you want to get it to like a little kid who you got to get them something. But yeah, I
Nice.
got
All
from
right.
last week someone called about those dish towels, and I actually bought a pack for my fiance, and she
El
didn't mean to
Hanko.
peep, but she found them. She said she liked them. She said they're beautiful. So
Nice.
you know,
Nice.
get that on
Yeah.
Christmas too. So
All
yeah.
right. Well, thanks for
um,
calling.
well, yeah. Have a great night, Brian. It's great talking to you.
You too, man. All right. You
Thanks.
know what's funny is I've been complaining a lot lately about, and I'm going to get this last call here, but I've been complaining a lot lately about the way that companies mail stuff to you in the Christmas season, because they send you something with the fucking name of the company on the fucking box. And it's like, well, you just fucking ruin it. You can't just not advertise for, a few months to people who have already bought something from you. But I ordered something off of Amazon, and I'm really hoping they just send it in a big blank box, because it'll be very obvious if they don't. All right, last call. Hello, last caller. What's up?
Hey, Brian. This is Doug out of Phoenix, Arizona. Originally from Ohio, but love the show.
Sick. Thank you.
Yeah, man. We've chatted before a couple times over some stuff, but I just wanted to say this is a quick call. I just want to tell you just thank you, and hope you enjoy your vacation. And I don't know, man. I just really want to tell you how much I appreciate the show and how much stuff you help us through. I don't know. I'm speaking for myself, but I'm sure a bunch of other people have the same sentiment, and I hope you really know that you're really appreciated. And I don't know. I just wanted to let you know.
Well, I appreciate that. You're appreciated, is what I say. And again, I will be here next week. One more show.
Okay.
And then
hell yeah.
I'm going to tell you all, here's what I want to say, because the call-in show is not going to be back until, I think it's January 22nd is the first one that I come back with. But let me just run through here real quick, because I really want people to know that I didn't just do a bunch of street fights. With just I've been doing the Wednesday show, right? With a guest and then the call-in show. What I did was on the show that comes out Mondays, it is a crossover show with another podcast. The first one's Minion Death Cult. We're talking about right-wing Christmas stuff. The second one is Blink 155. We talk about, or maybe that's the third one, but Blink 155, we talked about David Draymond and David Draymond, and I think Aaron Lewis. I don't know. It was mostly about David Draymond. So, Sully from Godsmack. Talk about Sully from Godsmack. And then the next week you will get Brigham Young Money. They are a podcast out of Utah. They're very funny, and they've had me on their show. And we're going to talk about Studio C, which is the Mormon Saturday Night Live, and Mormon stuff, mainly Mormon stuff. And then you will get you get Blocked Party on Christmas. It's me, John, and Stefan watching a thing called Christmas in America that is truly crazy, and you will get the video of that. And you'll get the audio and video. I just can't recommend. The video will be on Patreon. I can't recommend it enough. Please watch it. And then and then YKS will be doing one with me. Of course, we're going to talk about my streaming services, I believe. So it's a bunch of really cool fucking crossover stuff. I'm looking at the board to see if I've done other ones. I can't remember, but I did a lot. And then the other show is going to be the other side, the other show is going to be just like the other show, Hal Dottie. It's so hard to remember all the people. And then on the Patreon, Now We're Cooking. So you guys are going to get to hear Now We're Cooking. It's mostly in the can already. And I have a feeling people are going to like that, because I don't know a lot of people that weren't Dane Cook fans, probably specifically in this audience.
Oh yeah, big dang cookhead. Yeah, eighth grade. I remember listening to him every day in the school bus. Just headphones in first, MP3 player downloaded all his specials. Just real big time scumbag. Yeah, just early
he's
day
got a
scumbag. Yeah.
dude. He's got like a really dark aura, is what I said. It's hard for
He
me
is
to
just
talk.
horrible.
Yeah, I can't recommend this enough. You have to, if you think he's a fun-loving, optimistic guy, you have to watch Tourgasm. Like if you watch
I definitely think
Tourgasm,
he
you will be
shaped
like,
some of my.
holy fuck.
Yeah, he definitely shaped some of my like first darkest, just like I don't know, just like he definitely shaped me as a person. Just I don't know why. Just in an eighth grade, very formidable. Just just made me maybe into a little bit more of a degenerate than I ever would have been. But yeah, Dane Cook pretty terrible, and I can't wait to listen because that's gonna
Dude,
fuck me up.
I watched Isolated Incident today. And, you know, I counted how many times he said this, and I believe it was 5. He talks about his big giant cock in those words.
Oh,
My big, like a comedian is, I've never heard anything like it other than Mancow when he says he has a huge, but it's just nuts. It's like,
well, that's at least believable. It's Mancow.
He's got a huge dick. We all know that. He's been saying it, and, I might go get to see him soon in February.
Awesome.
I'm thinking about going out
rad.
to. I'm thinking about going out. I want to go out to L.A. and with the wife, and then go to Joshua Tree. But I want to go to L.A. when I can go see. Yeah, I want to go to L.A. when I can go to this convention where Mancow and Tom Arnold are doing a panel, which I think. You know,
that'll be horrific. That'll be a horrific time. But yeah, Joshua Tree, definitely do that. I did that about 2 years ago, right before I moved to Phoenix. I did like a little trip out to Joshua Tree. You and the fam will love it. I know you're not a big fan of Airbnbs, but I think you're gonna have to like,
yeah, I
do that. Possibly.
They're not super
really
expensive
not bad,
there. Yeah, it's not super expensive
nice.
there.
It's a good trip. Yeah, super cheap trip. Like as long as you're not driving too much, obviously. But like, it was one of the best trips I've ever had in my entire life. You'll absolutely love it. Yeah, it's so.
Yeah, I'm amped. I'm amped to fucking try this. To get out. And if I don't get out there now, I'll get out there later. I think Winners and Losers says got COVID from Mancow would be in a unique grave marker. Listen.
Yeah, that'll be pretty amazing. Yeah.
if
fucked up.
Oh no, okay. So Crust Monk asks, Isolated Incident is done at the Laugh Factory in 2009. It's a later special, and it's in front of 400 people. But the first show me and John covered, we covered Vicious Circle, which is the one that's in the round, which is. It's fucking nutty to me to even do a comedy show. It was just such a stupid concept on top of like, I mean, you know, you'll have to wait to hear what I thought about it, but every episode ends with me saying to the guests, so are we cooking? And out of the 4 we did, we were only cooking once so far. And then we got one tomorrow, and I cannot fucking imagine we're cooking. Because I watch it, we are not. Yeah. But yeah, it'll be fun. You'll hear that stuff, and it's a fun show. I think y'all will like what I've been able to put together. I really worked hard to make sure that you were getting 100% new, full amount of content. Because if I didn't, I would feel bad about taking a month off.
No, it's much appreciated, man. You deserve it. You deserve a lot more than that. But yeah.
I actually still do feel bad about taking a month off, but what are you gonna do? I can do other stuff.
Do not. Yeah. Do not. You deserve a lot more off. But yeah.
Well,
thanks, man.
Thank you for calling and being nice to me. I am going to now go to bed. Have a good night.
Yeah. Good night. Yep.
Peace. So, yeah. I'll be back here next fucking week. This week on Street Fight Borg posting Aaron from the Trillbillies, I believe. Don't quote me on that because who knows really. But Yell Stomp Hiss comes out, I think Monday. I think that if you like this show, you will really like that documentary. It's very fun. And again, I just want to say, like, that show does not happen without Brett. And I very much appreciate the work he put in making that tour happen. And he did a lot of fucking work. And I don't want people to forget how hard he worked and how much fun we had. And I don't know. I just want to say that on the show so that people understand that, like, it's just very important for me to let people know, like, he put that tour together. And I still love the guy. So I just want to say that at the end of the show. I want everybody to have a really peachy keen fucking night. And I want to talk to you all next Sunday before I hit the fucking road. I'm not hitting the road. I'm sitting at home, but I'm not having to talk. So good night, everybody. Have a good